Yep. Hey-o.
All right.
That was dry.
It was.
It's pretty dry. My bad. Welcome to this week's episode of the...
Vix Weeks?
Yeah, I messed that up too.
Voulez-vous couper à quoi?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Start up.
Vic.
Now you good?
Nah.
Let's keep it
go.
rolling.
Yeah. Flaws and all.
Yeah.
All right.
Take us as we are, Queen.
Yeah. Welcome to this week's episode of the Vexed Intellect. I am 2 for 5.
I am Jared Dam.
I mean, really? That's all you got?
2 for 5.
Is this Burger King 2 for 5? McDonald's 2 for 5?
Well,
Should we call you 4 for 4 instead?
nah. I don't really feel, guys, I don't really feel up to 4 for 4. I don't feel 4 for 4 worthy today. So
Okay.
I'm 2 for 5. I'm cheap and easy today.
But not cheap and trashy like 4 for 4.
Yeah, I might be cheap and trashy as well. Actually, I might be. Yeah.
Okay, well, hey, it's Jameson St. James.
I'm your boy, T.O. Don't do that.
See? Try to have you back on. And you're going to come in,
With that bull.
Right.
That out the gate.
You can't just do a regular intro like... I can't talk.
I gotta.
Not really 2 for 5.
Yeah.
It's your boy
2 for 5.
It's your
Skittles.
Your boy. Your boy. 2 for 5. And
Whoa.
welcome to this week's episode.
And we're not even drinking this
And
week.
we're not even drinking this week. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's everybody's week?
It's been a kind of a rough week considering how things go. No story, just
Okay. My bad.
just
Too soon.
Too soon.
just a rough week, considering everything. But we'll discuss that in more detail.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying personally. your week
Personally,
was-
personally, things are looking up as far as the family situation goes. So
Nice. Hold on. Round of applause.
and I will be in Dallas in a few weeks celebrating my daughter's 11th birthday. So
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope. Brooklyn is 11 already.
time be flying.
Time be flying.
Time be flying.
Wow. How old's your other kid?
Noah's 8.
8. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Your boy. BWOI.
Whoa.
Oh man, it's been pretty good.
No, I was saying a flag. BWOI. Your boy.
Your boy.
Your boy.
That's how you
That's how you
said it.
said it.
You didn't hear it? Your boy. How else?
Sorry,
Okay,
Tia.
how would you spell it? If boy. BWY?
Well, really, it was
I would
like
give
more
it a
like
BOI.
BOI. Yeah, that's what I had in my
But
mind.
he had like a dub, like a hard W in there. Your boy.
I put a little sauce on
You're
it.
probably correct.
I put a little bit too much sauce.
Oh, a little sauce.
I borrowed some of your sauce from the 2 for 5 or whatever.
2 for 5 was dry though. So you compensated for the dryness with the sauce.
I took
Might be a flag, just in case.
yeah, I think so.
That's fair.
It might not be
all
though,
right.
but
It might not be, but it's fair.
Oh, that sounds pretty shaky. Anyway,
well, all right.
weeks been good though. Got a chance to hang out with the fam.
Okay.
Hit a nice little cigar spot.
Hey.
All right.
So enjoyed it.
What's up?
It ended pretty shitty, but like Mr. Dam said, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. St. James.
Hey, man. My week was good.
Yeah.
Sorry you guys have had such semi-tough weeks. I mean, we got bad news, but life goes on. And it just, there's a message in the madness.
There's a train being ran
Mm-hmm.
through the annals of West Midtown,
The back door.
the back door of West Midtown. Yep.
Could be ran by a woman, though.
Could be.
So, yeah. So, we got some bad news.
Pegging?
Flag on that, bro.
That's not a flag.
That's toxic, bro.
If she Is that toxic?
No, this is
That's women's empowerment.
judges.
Yeah, that's women's empowerment.
We do need a judge on that kind of.
Well, I'm not being pegged. I'm just saying that's an empowering thing.
Whoa.
Whoa, no.
I don't want to hear about your status, your peg status, okay?
Okay.
No. But anyway, where was I?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm lost.
It was a train.
It was,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
We were distracted by the train.
yeah, we
It's
were.
like squirrel.
Yeah, I had a good weekend. Went up to North Georgia mountains, had some great wine, good company. All's well.
Good deal. Good deal. All right. Well, once again, we are the Vexed Intellects. It has been a tough weekend. Well, before we get into that, actually, let's get into our sponsor. This week's episode is brought to you by Hair. That's HAIRHARE. And their lovable little mascot, Harry the Hare. Do you suffer from early onset pattern male baldness? Are you riding around with the top off, but like not in a good way? Feeling a little drafty up there? Is your hat and beanie collection taking up too much closet space because you've exhausted all possible color combinations to match the day's fit? Well, fret not, old friend. Hair is here to meet all of your follically challenged needs. Hair offers a plethora of hair loss solutions such as toupees, wigs, man weaves, graphic, Beijing, hairline tattooing, and a whole host of other products. She'll love running her fingers through your newly formed locks of love, and you'll be getting it on like rabbits. I mean, hares. If none of that works for you, we also have a nice selection of hats, beanies, bandanas, do-rags, and headbands to add to your already thriving collection. Be sure to visit our website to set up an online consultation. Once again, that's Hair. HAIRHARE. All right. Our word of the day is dejection. A sad and depressed state, low spirits. We are a little saddened today, but we'll get into that. Once again, that word is dejection. Today is April 4th. This is our first pod of April. So, all right. If you've listened to every episode thus far, thank you for rocking with us. We appreciate that. All love.
Much love.
April 4th. A couple fun facts about today. On this day in 1913, Muddy Waters was born. Also, same day, 1928, the great Maya Angelou was born. Also on this day, sadly, in 1968, it was the day that the good Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was shot and killed.
Wow.
1973, the World Trade Center, the world's tallest building at that time, was opened. 1974, Hank Aaron tied Babe Ruth's all-time home run record. At that time, it was 714 home runs. 1975, Bill Gates and Paul Allen founded Microsoft. And lastly, for Jarrett, on this day in 1993, WrestleMania took place at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, where Hulk Hogan pinned Yokozuna.
Yeah.
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 You seemed a little excited.
I did. It was a surprise. It was a surprise. He wasn't scheduled to be there at the show, if I remember correctly.
Who wasn't scheduled to be there?
Actually, the main event was Bret the Hitman Hart, WWE Hall of Famer.
We're not
Bret
going
the
to talk
Hitman Hart
about
and-
wrestling right now.
Okay,
That
okay.
was a hypothetical. I didn't really want you to.
You got me hyping.
Yeah, I got you. I see.
All right.
Get him, Jay.
Well,
So, is your life just that bad that you know these
Whoa.
facts? Or are you actually looking these up every week?
You're gonna just start off being an asshole, aren't you? Huh?
No, I'm just asking.
No.
for
I
real.
mean, it's there are millions of wrestling fans, but of course because
But from
it doesn't-
1993,
it
bro?
doesn't fit you.
How old were you?
I was 13.
Talk your talk, Jared.
You know, because it's not in your spectrum
Uh-oh.
of things.
Go off, King.
Get him, Jay.
You feel like I'm trash. Okay.
Get him,
yeah.
Jay.
Go
All
off,
right.
King.
I didn't say you were trash.
No, whatever. Well, your life is so whatever. Okay.
Hold on.
Get him, Jay.
Snap. It was some snaps. Like, you
Jared,
glow, girl. You
damn.
glow, girl, Jared.
It ain't happening today, man.
Jared,
I
damn.
let you get that shit off last week, man. It ain't happening
Jared.
today.
Hey, you didn't hear. He said you glow.
yeah.
He said you glow, Jay.
So, hey.
My
See,
bad.
Skittle?
My bad.
Sometimes you got to slide the jokes in. Let them keep
That shit
going.
was funny.
You know, the Married Guy Association of America. They gotta back each other. That's
Yeah.
wust up. Tag team partners.
Back
No
Wait a
pun
minute, I was
intended.
just about to
Wrestling
say,
reference.
whoa.
Wrestling reference. I got it.
Yeah,
I got it.
All right. Well, Jared, down. You say you doing all right today?
I'm doing damn well now.
Okay, my man.
I guess he just handled me.
Whatever.
Real quick, fellas. Though, I will. I like to say this though. One of the highlights of my life as a teenager, got a chance to meet Maya Angelou.
Oh man, well, let's round of applause for
Man,
that.
that shit was
Yeah.
that shit was unbelievable.
Dope.
Up in Washington D.C., actually, Martin Luther King III was being inaugurated at the president of the SCLC at the time,
Okay.
and went up on a trip with the group of people from the church, and man, just to see her perform some of her poems, like man.
That's what's up. You didn't go up and call her Maya, did you, and get a swift correction?
Nah, but she did call us out. You know, we was teenagers. We trying to be cool. We sitting in the back.
Yeah.
And it was dope, though. She called us out. She was like, why y'all sitting back there? All the girls up front.
Hey.
Okay.
But it was cool, though,
Phenomenal woman up front.
There we go. Maya with the
Yeah.
spice. Well, that's cool. Thank
man.
you.
It was dope.
Tease. What? Your boy? Thank you, my boy.
Oh, no, I got it. T-Boy. T-Boy. That's his new name.
Wait, wasn't that the guy that did My Baby Daddy? What's his name?
That's just my.
Yeah.
I can't remember
Who
his
that
name.
is?
Hey, man, my
That's just
no, he
T.Y.
was T-Bird. He was
That's
T.
just-
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
my bad,
I was
my
like,
bad.
I don't
I
know.
don't know why I remember that.
I just remember Hitman
Yeah.
Sam and, you know.
We got to put that one in the quiver.
What?
Who that is?
Who that is?
Every
Who
time,
that is?
Every time he makes a good comment.
Yeah, all bad. All right. Well, that was fun facts for today, and thank you, my boy, for adding
can't
a
do
little.
this,
Adding a little act. No, we can do it all.
We can.
We can. You don't know us.
We didn't forget you with the brown
no.
Skittle, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I
I-
think that is a good time to get into.
First things first.
That beat, though.
Yeah.
That beat's nice. Let that ride for 2 seconds.
Hey.
All right.
All right.
Okay. So, on our agenda for First Things First, we got Joe Biden, also known as Handsy Joe. I don't know what to do with my hands. So, is 1973 Joe going to get 2020 Joe in trouble?
Well, it ain't just 1973. Joe been
Joe been being Joe for a
been
minute.
being Joe been being real handsy. Yeah, I think that that might disqualify him,
Yeah.
especially considering today's climate. Yeah,
Even though we got
with Mr.
even though we got
Grabble.
grab him by the-
We got
yeah.
Grabble.
Yeah.
that's a different crowd though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
I don't know. I mean, you know, I did see something with Nancy Pelosi actually mentioning that she don't feel like this latest scandal is going to disqualify him. So
Yeah, I saw that.
it's hard. I mean, obviously he can't announce right now, so he'll probably let it die out a little bit, and then you know feel the climate and go from there. But the timing is yeah.
It's a bad time.
Yeah.
It's a bad
The
time.
first
And
woman came out. I was like, okay. But then just this week right here, another woman came
Right,
out. I'm
right.
like, okay, hold up. They coming for him now.
Yeah.
I think it's like I said, it was anybody that was associated with the Obama administration, they don't want nowhere near the White House.
So you think it's a conspiracy?
It is.
Well, let me ask you this, because a lot of people felt that if anyone had the temperament to go up against the current president,
him.
it would be
It's
Joe.
him.
Absolutely.
So do you think that this
Joe's
is
the one.
Yeah.
It feels conspiracy-like. It does. I can't. I mean, obviously
it's
nothing to prove, but
yeah.
But the
So,
timing.
One
and
of them
just-
doubled down a little bit, didn't it? It was like, well, I wasn't free. I just kind of felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Good luck to him. Well, number 4. So when algorithms go bad, Housing and Urban Development Department charges Facebook with discrimination. They are supposedly driving ads to certain demographics based off the algorithm. What do you guys think about that?
I find it funny that this is something that Facebook has actually been dealing with in the background. They've been doing settlements already. All of a sudden, after they banish white nationalism and white supremacy groups and speech on the platform, that the Trump administration now files this lawsuit. I just think the timing, not to make the theme of the day conspiracy theory,
But it feels like it though,
it
and
do.
that's the
I just find
thing.
that funny.
It's. I think just the way things are going, especially from last week where Trump was getting out all his enemies. He was he was talking mad shit. He was getting people out of here. Yeah, it feels like that.
And Facebook been taking a lot of heat lately. So like,
deservedly so.
yeah. Do you? Let me ask you this: do you guys feel like Facebook might be,
In trouble?
like just on the decline? Period. Is it even?
So it's on the decline because, not because of the heat they're taking, just because when the youth stop using your platform, they slow down on usage, you're already on the decline.
Yeah.
And so what they're doing is trying to scramble to monetize Facebook.
Yep.
And so that's why they're making so many mistakes, because they're putting so much effort into how can we be creative around making money. And that's where the issues are coming. When it was organic and people were just doing what they were doing and they weren't making money off of ads, then it was cool.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, something that, no pun intended, is close to the heart. The heartbeat bill down here in Georgia. The state house just voted that abortions after 6 weeks are outlawed in the state. Of course, it needs to be ratified by the governor. Just a sad day for the state of Georgia. But what do you guys think?
I will never understand why people feel the need to police women's bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for a lot of underserved people, it's like, all right, so you don't want them getting government assistance to help assist with their child, right? But you also don't want to allow them, if they so choose, to get an abortion. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, I know a lot of women who've gone past the 6 week mark without even knowing that they were pregnant.
Well, and that's but a lot of people,
the argument.
not to go conspiracy again, but a lot of people feel that that's why that 6 week number is because of that. A lot of people don't find out until 2 to 8 weeks, so 2 months. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, how is that fair to just, I don't sound fair at all.
Look,
Absolutely.
so fuck fairness. They're just vindictive.
Yeah.
That's what it really is.
That's
And
true.
So,
And the ramifications in the state of Georgia with the film and television industry is going to be
huge. I think they already had like a $50 million project pull out.
Yep. So I mean,
I hope the governor gets that message.
Shame on you, Georgia House.
yeah.
All right. So on this next one, I think we need a little bit of audio. This is Lil Nas coming to you live.
All right.
Again with your Porsche. I've been in the valley, you ain't been up off that porch.
Hey.
Can't nobody tell me nothing. Riding on a horse.
Hey, Lil Nas comes out with a country hit. Who knew? How big
shit
was that
fire.
horse? Was that horse like 14 hands or something? Look, so,
Ask Joe Biden.
Joe got them hands.
Yeah.
yeah. So, big controversy on the country charts. Rap music has made it to the chart, and they pulled it. What do you
Hayden.
guys think about that?
Hayden, because everybody else can do hip hop. All the pop artists can, Miley Cyrus, Taylor Swift,
yeah.
Ariana Grande, like everybody can do our music, and it'd still be pop. Why can't we do country?
And Taylor Swift used to be a country artist. Like she was on the charts and she was putting out all these pop hits.
Right.
Man,
So this is crazy.
Let's take it back to Elvis Presley and
Yeah.
shoot, Rolling Stones and how many fucking vibes they took.
Original cultural appropriation.
Yeah, man. So look, we can't take country back. I know we started country with the really bluesy blues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't take country back.
Shout out
I
Muddy
guess y'all own
Waters
it now.
again.
That's it.
Yeah.
So last on First Things First, what about Omari Hardwick at the NAACP Image Awards? What's up with that guy, man? He had at least 2 or 3 episodes of hugs that were too long and cheek kisses that were misplaced. I almost thought it was Joe Biden.
Wow.
What do you guys think about that?
Yo,
Let's ask the married guys if that was someone with your wife. How would you?
If
guys?
it was
That's
Kim,
2 words, man.
Kim, not to be named, damn.
that's 2 words, man. Blatant disrespect. Especially you gonna do that right next to me. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like Hove right there.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys, let me tell you something. So, not long ago, I was out on a date, and this random dude just bumped into me, like elbowed me at the bar. And I was like, damn, this is weird. Why am I getting elbowed at the bar?
Was he boxing, trying to box out or something?
Come to find out, he had been out on a date with my date
Really?
and was subliminally trying to chump me off.
Is that right?
And I was like, I just got on Mari Hardwick while I'm standing here with my woman.
Wow.
That's what I would akin it to.
Yeah, boy. How would you feel?
Yeah, I got 3 words. Hold up, bruh.
Really?
Hold up. I'll give you that one. That one was one of those, right on the cheek. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah. That one, the first one.
Okay,
Yeah.
I give you that. That's the gentleman's approach. But that's the second one.
All
bro.
kidding aside, though.
No, that was too far. The end, it was.
What I tell you is, I don't know if I'd be disrespected.
That second one was disrespectful.
It's Hove and Pay. Come on. What you gonna fight every dude that wants to fuck Beyonce?
Nah, but that
I
second one.
fight every night to prove my love.
Right.
That second one was close to the lips, though, bro.
So
it was
I'm
real
just
close
saying,
to the
dude,
lips.
How many people do you think send inappropriate stuff, like get carried away? Like just being around Beyonce, I can see dudes all the time doing and saying the wrong thing.
Nah,
All
but-
the
Oh,
time.
you gotta
Nah,
get
he know
close to
better.
Beyonce
Yeah.
first, and I don't see a whole bunch
He
of
close
dudes.
in my
Yeah.
face. That's different.
Right.
It was
But-
to the point where she kind of,
Yeah.
kind of put her hair back, kind of had a little look on her face, like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, hey.
It was like, yeah.
She looked a bit taken aback.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Enough for me. I was just curious.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have flipped out. I would
got
have
you.
handled it just like Jay.
Yeah.
Hey, yo.
I mean, yeah, you Jay, so.
All right.
Oh,
But
thanks.
me, though?
Thanks, T-Boy.
Like,
Yeah, boy.
yeah.
All right, and that was First Things First. Don't do that. All right, so our word of the day again. Well, no, we don't do that yet. Sorry. All right. There's another train. Oh, this is going to be a busy train.
Yeah,
night,
so-
huh?
yeah, lots of
Here we
trains
go.
going
Yeah. All right.
through the back door.
So, we here at the Vexed Intellects love the ladies. And to show our appreciation, every week we have created a segment entitled You Glow Girl, where we highlight amazing feats accomplished by the ladies every week. This week for me, I'm going with 2, actually. I have Lori Lightfoot and Tony Preckwinkle. These wonderful women are actually up for the mayoral election in the city of Chicago. There has never been a black woman as the mayor of Chicago.
That's big.
So
Nice.
as of tomorrow, and I know this will air on 4/4, but as of tomorrow,
444?
4-3.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
There will be, for the first time ever, a black woman as the mayor of Chicago.
That's big.
Yeah, round of applause.
And definitely get a round of applause
And
for
some
that.
snaps. And some snaps.
And some snaps.
It's our second You Glow Girl of the day.
Absolutely. So we actually just got breaking news. Lori Lightfoot is the new mayor of Chicago. So round of applause again.
Nice.
That is dope.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
I
You
wonder
glow,
is-
girl.
is
The glow,
she-
girl.
Is she Native American?
Who? Oh, the name, the
Yeah.
I'd be curious. She's black. Black mixed with black. Amen.
No, I'm just curious.
No, that is, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Shout out to black and brown folks everywhere.
Black. Anybody else got anything?
I got one from since we talking about first. Suzanne Capitola. She actually was the
How do you Suzanne?
Sucker in such a cash.
She's actually was the
Sorry, do
first
that again.
female Suzanne Capitola.
Suzanne Capitola. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
She was actually elected the first president of Slovakia.
Okay.
So I did see that, and I wanted to kind of give a shout out for that lady.
Is she Slovakian?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
She is.
I don't know anything about her. I mean, is there something special about?
I mean, she
I mean, it's
that's a big deal, yeah.
That's just a big deal for women
It's big-
everywhere.
yeah, it's a big deal
I was
for
just
women
curious.
everywhere.
I was just curious.
But,
I
you
hadn't
know,
heard the story. So
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just kinda-
just kind of popped to my feed.
vexed.
I saw it. I wanted to kind of, highlight that. She's. I know her, for as far as her politics, she is pro EU. She's liberal
Brexit.
lawyer. Yeah,
No Brexit, huh?
yeah. So, but it was a big deal. It was on several international news outlets. So I just want to give highlight that.
Hey, you glow girl to Suzanne.
Zapatola.
Hey, I don't have a You Glow Girl, but I do got a You Go Young King. Want to shout out my son, Cole Thrasher.
Shout out Cole
Shout out
Thrasher.
Cole Thrasher.
Yeah, he's gotten accepted to Georgia State University, the University of Georgia, and we just recently found out he got accepted to USC, Southern California.
Okay.
He got waitlisted for Syracuse, got a guaranteed transfer after 1 year for Cornell. So,
Whoa.
Dope.
That's where I would
so
go.
proud parent moment.
Was he? Hey,
clap it up.
Yeah.
clap for the young kid.
Yeah.
So, what's his choice? What's his preference so far?
His first choice right now is USC.
How much did y'all pay?
We got $50.
I told him I had 5 on it.
Oh, okay.
I can
Or
get him a 5 for 5.
2 for 5.
I can get him a 2 for 5, with cheese.
Hey, cheap and easy.
I put cheese on it, go on and splurge a little bit, put an egg on it.
Oh, now you fancy.
Yeah.
Hey,
They got eggs at Burger King?
Well, all right. Shout out Cole Thrasher.
Shout out.
Shout out, Young King.
You're lucky we're in a giving mood.
All right.
We would have flagged that in any other circumstance other than it being cold.
Catch out while y'all ain't drinking.
Clearly. So I got a couple options for you, Glow Girl. So, I like to keep mine close to home. Somebody I know, have personal interactions with, and have seen do that thing over time. I'm gonna go with Lori Hall and her team over at TV1. Just pulled off an amazing NAACP Image Awards. Okay. Great show.
All right.
Glow Girl.
Glow girl, Lori Hall.
Also a fellow podcaster. Check out her podcast at 38 and Dating.
Okay.
Just good peeps. Overall good peeps. Rocking and rolling over there at TV1. Shout out. Kudos.
You glow girl, Lori Hall. All right. And that was You Glow Girl. I think we have a fun little segment. It's, as we stated, it's a sad time. By now everybody knows that the great Nipsey Hussle is no longer with us, and we will be talking about that today. And we'll be unpacking that a little bit and having a discussion about details surrounding the case. But before we get to that, I think we had a light little segment that we wanted to do.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at the Twitterverse, I wanted to. I saw a little fun topic that we wanted to do that to kind of cut the tension a little bit. I think all of us are a little uneasy, and tense, based on everything that's going on. So hopefully we can have some fun with that. Not too tense. It was a little segment called "My White Privilege." Hashtag, not pound. Hashtag "My White Privilege." In this particular thing, there were white people that were saying, "Hey, this is the shit that I got away with because of my white privilege." So I wanted to read a couple of them.
Okay.
All right. Two fat cocks. This is her Twitter handle. Said, as a teen, I spat in a cop's face, and when he broke up a party, all he could do was drive me home and tell my mom that I was a troublemaker. Hashtag my white privilege.
Spit in the cop's face?
Spit in the cop's face. The cop did nothing but take her home to her mom and say, she's a troublemaker.
There's a couple things that you never do in the black world.
Yeah.
Spitting on a cop and expecting to come back in one piece.
Alive.
Is one of them.
Right. I thought that was the craziest shit.
That is crazy.
Here's another one. This is from I am Pacer. Was pulled over for a DUI, going 85 and a 55, reckless driving, 16 total tickets, refused a breathalyzer, weed, and a bowl in my pocket. At the station, no cell, no drunk tank. Once the paperwork was done, bonded myself out with $100.
Wow.
Hashtag my white privilege.
Damn.
Wow. It's impressive.
That is so fucking impressive.
Yeah.
King shit.
Yeah, that's king shit.
You look, I got a personal one. I know a guy.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's hear this.
He ain't even do a hashtag. He just plain old did it. So back in the old days, I had a buddy who was a roommate, and he used to drink a lot. And he was a red-blooded American that had a carry permit, and he always had a gun on him. And one dreary night, he got a little bit wasted. Actually, 3 dreary nights he's gotten a little wasted. And he's driving home, one eye in it, as people do sometimes when they get drunk. And he sees a roadblock, decides to turn off and get out the car and start running with his gun in his pocket. Now, he picks his gun in his pocket and then starts running. Running from the cops. So the cops see him, and of course, they take off after him, run him down, tackle his ass. And he's trying to fight the police.
Wow.
They put his ass in cuffs, take him to the station. This is his 3rd DUI at this time. 0 DUIs on his record.
Oh, damn. What his parents own?
No, they weren't. I mean, it wasn't like they were like super rich, but they had access to the right lawyers to make it happen. And this is like a real life story of somebody I know hand to hand. And this guy, I've seen him get trashed.
Nice.
And I've made him ride with me.
Yes.
Look at you. You glow boy.
No, we saved the glows for Jared.
Jared, did you?
Damn.
Damn.
I'm going to add some of my coconut water.
There you go.
You better.
Did you have any?
No, nothing to compare to that last one.
I got something.
Yeah.
I got something. Then I saw this on D.L. Hughley's Instagram page. It says, when white folks try to out-privilege each other, comedy ensues.
True.
That's and you have no right to stop me and question me. No, you do not. Get out of my way.
An American,
Get out of my way.
Get
out of my way.
The law.
You are assaulting me.
No, I'm
You are
not.
assaulting
You are
me.
assaulting me because you are running me over.
Ma'am?
All you had to do
Ma'am?
was communicate with me and talk
Ma'am,
to me.
I
That's
did.
all.
I did.
Yes.
Ma'am, get away from... I am on my way to a doctor's appointment. I am going to be late.
I know what my rights are.
You don't know what your rights are.
I did
Get
not
out of my way.
illegal being.
You do not have any right to
Yes,
keep
I
blocking me.
do.
Get out of my way.
I do. You will
You do
calm
not have
down
any-
and treat me civilly.
You don't have any right.
Was he driving?
No.
It's a
you
bike.
don't have.
He's on like a
did.
scooter or a
Yes,
motorized
I
scooter.
did.
Get out of my way. Get out of my way. Get out of my way.
Got the horn.
You are on me. Get out of my way.
Citizens arrest. You glow girl.
So to set that up for the people that can't see, he's on some kind of a walking trail, and she's what appears to be walking her dog, and she confronted him for being on there with what looks like a motorized scooter, and he was on his way to an appointment. So out privilege each other. Bout ensued.
Oh, you got it, man.
Sounds like they engaged in fisticuffs.
Get your
That's what
moped
it's-
out of here.
It's just amazing.
Ma'am.
That was.
I have a right.
To stop you.
All you had to do was be civil with me. Like, people feel so entitled.
I am a white woman.
And he said, I'm an older man that loves all women.
We'll find a way to slide that in there.
At least once a week.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was hashtag my white privileges.
Oh,
Oh, that was funny. Okay. Well, our word of the day again is dejection. A sad, don't do that. A sad and depressed state or low spirits. We chose that word today to, I guess, kind of highlight how we feel. And you guys can probably hear it in our voices a little bit. As I kind of mentioned briefly, Nipsey Hussle has perished, sadly, prematurely on Sunday. And I just want to kind of talk about that a little bit, but let me set it up here with a little monologue. Nipsey Hussle, given name Ermias Askedum, was born on August 15th, 1985. He was raised in the Crenshaw neighborhood in South Los Angeles. His family is of Eritrean descent. His first name, Ermias, means God will rise, which he didn't find out until later in life from a friend. He was a father. He was a son. He was a brother. He was a devoted lover to his queen, famed actress and model, Lauren London, who was the mother of his youngest child, a son. He was a community leader, activist, and organizer. He was an entrepreneur that employed and gave opportunities to many people from his community. He was an incredibly dope rapper and wordsmith that painted vivid pictures with his music. He was a redemption story. A member of the infamous Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips, he sold drugs and hustled in the area of Crenshaw and Slauson, but would give back to that same neighborhood he hustled and earned his stripes in a major way. He owned several businesses, his own record label, All Money In, which has a partnership with Atlantic Records, Marathon Clothing Company, which is housed at a strip mall at the corner of the streets that I mentioned previously. It is a smart store where customers can use an app to enhance their shopping experience. He was a part of an investment group that had a leading bid to acquire the leasehold for Santa Monica's historic Viceroy Hotel. He was also a part of a team of artists and entrepreneurs who developed Destination Crenshaw, an open-air museum devoted to honoring African-American artistic achievement. In early 2018, he announced Vector 90, a 4,700 square foot, 2-story facility that offers co-working and communal workspaces, as well as a STEM program for local children's organizations and individual families. He also hoped to expand to other cities like Atlanta, Washington, and Baltimore. Oh, and I forgot to mention that he purchased the strip mall that houses Marathon Clothing for, as he put it, a couple million. The property would include a barbershop, a Creole seafood restaurant, and a store where he would provide assistance for underprivileged families to purchase prepaid cell phones, fragrances, clothing, and more. On March 31st, 2019, at around 3:25 Pacific Standard Time, Nipsey Hussle was shot 6 times at that very strip mall that he owned in front of Marathon Clothing. He was transported to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead. Approximately 30 minutes prior, he tweeted, "Having strong enemies is a blessing." Detectives, at the time that I wrote this, detectives were seeking a lone suspect in connection with the shooting. They got him. At the time of this recording, they got him. I don't even need to read that. It was 29-year-old Eric Holder. He was a member of the Crips. Allegedly, he had come to Marathon and tried to speak with Nipsey, and Nipsey banished him. It's rumored that he is a government informant, so they didn't want him around, and he came back and shot him. But the police have captured him, and he has been apprehended, and he is in custody. There were some conspiracy theories floating around that he was killed by the government because he was making a documentary on Dr. Sebi in his infamous trial, disputing his claims that he'd cured AIDS. But that was found out to be not true. Nipsey's good friend, Demetrius Meach Ship, posted on Facebook, quote, "We know why and who. Please stop with the sensationalism. No conspiracy, no hit, just a low-life rat who left and came back to do the devil's work." He continues, "A known rat did this. It wasn't a hit. No one leaves and comes back to do a premeditated hit. It was no Dr. Sebi conspiracy. The guy is a known rat and was asked to leave and return to do his dirty work." End quote. There was a huge outpouring of condolences and support by celebrities on social media, and I would read a few, but I think everyone has seen it at this time. I was personally first introduced to Nipsey Hussle in 2013 via his 8th mixtape entitled Crenshaw. I was intrigued after reading about his Proud to Pay campaign, where he was selling the project for $100 a copy, and people were paying it. In fact, he sold 1,000 copies of this. At that time, mixtapes had come into prominence again after kind of being cold for a while. And it came back into prominence via platforms such as Dat Piff, live mixtapes, and others, where you could listen to the mixtapes for free. So I was intrigued at the fact that people were actually paying anything for it, let alone $1,000. I thought the idea was genius, and I had to see what all the fuss was about. I listened to the project and quickly found out why he commanded that level of respect. I wasn't the only one intrigued. Jay-Z purchased 100 copies to support him. Rick Ross also supported him. He sold out of the $100 physical copies in 24 hours. Fast forward to February 16th, 2018. He dropped his album Victory Lap. I remember listening to that album start to finish in the dark, focused intently on every word. I was sacked immediately by the opening track. He rapped, "I'm prolific, so gifted. I'm the type that's gonna go get it. No kidding." The passion in his voice, raspy, the beat, I was hooked off the top. The album was widely accepted by many critics and listeners as an early candidate for Album of the Year and would end the year just the same. It was my Album of the Year, hands down. The album would be nominated for a Grammy for Rap Album of the Year, and it's still in heavy rotation over a year later, and that speaks volumes with the attention span of today's music consumer. At the time of this recording, his music sales had increased by 2,776% after his death.
Wow.
Killing it.
Saw that.
Killing it. Now, here's what we're not going to do. We're not going to blame this on black crime. That is bullshit. It is statistically proven that most crimes are a matter of proximity, regardless of race. According to the FBI's Uniform Crime Reporting data, 90.1% of black victims of homicide were killed by other blacks, while 83.5% of whites were killed by other whites. The statistical evidence shows that just as for black, when it comes to black on black crime, white are mostly victimized by other whites, with the vast majority of white murders committed by whites. This is because most victims of crime personally know their assailants. We just so happen to be a smaller percentage of the country, so the per capita numbers are magnified. And be clear, I'm not saying that we should not hold ourselves accountable, but I just think that that's a lazy narrative, and that's fact. You never hear white on white crime or Asian on Asian crime. And I mean, we have to police our own community, and I'm all for that, but that's a lazy narrative, and that's often used by Fox News and by white supremacists to justify killing of black bodies by police.
Misdirect. Sorry, I know it's a monologue, but misdirect the conversation.
What?
Black on black crimes to misdirect.
Is a misdirect.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. They only say that bullshit with us. But anyway, I'll table that. I pose this question. Why is it always the kings in our communities that are trying to do something? Serious question. The best of us. He could have got money and moved to Calabasas like everyone else. He made it out, but he chose to stay in the neighborhood that raised him and to try to create opportunities to enrich and better the lives of his people. And he was murdered in cold blood in front of the very store that he built for the people to have something, man. Why we don't like to see people that look like us winning? Is it attention? Are some of us afraid that he gonna get all the women because he got money? You know, I don't get it. I don't get it. Why don't we like to see us thriving, man? I just, you know, and we don't have all the answers. Maybe we'll get some now that he's been apprehended, but you know, it's bad enough to have to look over your shoulder going out into the world every day, you know? And then, you know, why do we have to do it in our own backyards? We all have similar struggles, you know, similar stories. But to be black is to walk around carrying trauma and anxiety at all times. And it's a lot, man. It's a lot. But, you know, fellas, I apologize. I know I went on a rant there at the end.
No.
Yeah.
No, get it out, man.
Yeah.
Does anybody have anything? I'm sorry.
I want to echo your sentiment. Like, I mean, as you were speaking, I was kind of zoned out listening. To answer that question, at least in my mind, I felt like it's jealousy. You know, I think jealousy plays a big part of it, and jealousy is a weak emotion for weak people. Yeah. Not saying that everyone can't be jealous at times, but when it causes you to react in such extreme ways, you know, to hurt people because someone is where you are, it's sad. And, you know, I won't say that's the entire answer, but when that question first comes up, that's like the first thing that pops into my head.
Yeah, good point. So, you know, why can't we win? Why can't somebody from our community rise up with their bootstraps?
Right.
As the broader culture likes to say, pull themselves up out of a bad situation and make themselves greater than, better than, and on top of that, lift as they climb.
Right.
So I think I would take it back to a couple things. And I know we hate to drone on about slavery and 400 years of slavery, but I think that DNA has memory, right? I think that the traumas are passed down generationally. And it looks different today than it did just 50, 60 years ago. What I would say is when you have hundreds of years of devaluing of the black humanity, of black human beings, right? When you are beat down, downtrodden for hundreds of years, it really devalues your view of yourself and your view of yourself that you see in others. And so if you value the life of another human being, you don't take that life because your ego is hurt.
Right.
Or you offended.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if you don't see the connection between the life of another human and your own life, like if you don't value yourself,
Right.
And if the stories about this person are true, about, being an informant, et cetera, I personally, I didn't grow up in that life. So, I don't know how that works.
Right.
I know what I've seen on movies, like You're a Rad, it's a brotherhood, we're all in this together.
Right.
And I understand that. So I know I've had some brotherhoods, people that I'm really close to. And if they, reported me, turned me in on something, I would be hurt. I don't always believe in this quote unquote code of the streets.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think it sounds like, based off the reports, that code of the street and this guy breaking the code of the street made him unwanted or unwelcome.
Yeah.
Right. And so coming from a position of already devalued, he's already, let's just say the DNA conversation, he already has a less than value for himself.
Right.
Because if he had a higher value for himself, if he thought there were options, he may not have been in a gang to begin with. Right. He's in a gang, at some point in the gang, he informs on the gang. So that just takes his self-worth even farther down.
Right.
And then to see somebody who's lifting up the community and then they say, hey, you're not welcome here either because I know you. I know your track record.
Right.
That just takes his self-worth down even farther. And it doesn't make it right. There's no excuse for the heinous acts. But if you take a step back and look at it, it's a bigger picture than just, hey, it's a foolish act by a foolish man. Sad.
Yeah, really sad. Matteo, I know that you are a huge Nipsey Russell fan. I mean, Nipsey Hussle fan, sorry. So, what are your thoughts on everything?
No, I actually I had the same thought that you had on the surface when you first listened as he was finishing the monologue. Jealousy, when you just sit back and think about what took place in those waning moments, jealousy was one of the first words that come to mind. And like you said, when you mix jealousy with a frail male ego, like that's dangerous.
It's toxic.
Yeah.
And
Speaking of toxic masculinity, that's very toxic.
It's sad, man. It's like it's no words. And I was having this conversation with somebody earlier. How can us as black people get out of what's the old cliche, the crab mentality?
Yeah. Crabs in a barrel.
The crabs in a bucket mentality. If I can't have it, neither can you. And that's the ongoing problem that we have as a culture. And and jealousy.
Where do you think that comes from? Like first,
I don't know.
And I asked that question because in order to know how to get out of it, you got to know, you got to figure out what the root cause is.
You asked a question. You said, and just like as he was finishing, why don't we want to see each other win? Like we were the only people that were being oppressed. So you would think, just because of that, like you said, going back to the history of what we've been through as a people, you would think that we would want to see each other win.
Not necessarily. And let me tell you why. If you
But that's crazy though. Why
yeah,
not?
but if you look at that mentality, if you think about the days of slavery, and you think about where you had people out in the fields working, and if somebody, the master gave somebody better food options, or they put them in the house to work so they wouldn't be in the fields. Yeah, you get, or even most overseers were black. So when you get that,
when you see the special treatments, you saying that's
yeah,
where it started,
and that's where that mentality started from. And but the thing about it is, centuries go by, years go by, technology goes. We've had so many victories, but that mentality still remains, and that's the problem. That's the biggest problem.
But here's a guy that looks like you, walks like you, talks like you. Yeah, but he just so happened to make better choices. And granted, like you said, yeah, he was gang affiliated, and Nipsey never shied away from that.
No.
He talked about that in his music, but he also talked about educating himself and trying to show his own people there's a better way than gang banging. And but here's a perfect example of somebody who's trying to show you a better way. And how can you let something like jealousy, or just because you felt like you said, you felt like your ego was shot because maybe it was other people in the store when Nipsey was telling him to leave. Like, who knows? Like, and you felt some kind of way.
Right.
He wasn't alone. He was with two other gentlemen, and they both were also shot.
So, okay. So, yeah, you feel like...
So, look, if you can shoot somebody over territory, if you can shoot somebody over, you thought they cheated you in the craps game, if life is that transactional, then why can't you kill them over disrespect or the perception of disrespect?
I don't know, man.
I don't think there's a knowing, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't think we're going to get to the bottom of the mentality of a person who does that.
But
right.
Okay, this what pisses me off though, and I know it's easy to say, well, why can't? But it pisses me off, and I actually heard Ricky Smiley say this morning. This is where I got this from. You run up on somebody like Nipsey, who's in the community, trying to uplift his people, give his people better options, and try to help any way he can. Trying to maximize, his platform, and trying to do what's right. You run up on him in broad daylight, in front of his people, shoot him in cold blood, but nobody have a problem running up on George Zimmerman in broad daylight. And he's still walking around, and he's been acting out since the day he got off. Like I don't get it. We're so quick to jump on our own because of jealousy,
again,
but you can't be jealous.
Again, it's a proximity thing. So you don't see George Zimmerman. You see that guy that you had conflict with the week before. So it's just a matter of access.
Yeah.
It's access. So this person is close. I'll say this too, and I'll give the floor back to you guys. To touch again on the black on black piece, like, as y'all know, I really don't like when people speak, especially on black men. It's my tribe. Yeah. In monoliths and blankets, like, You see a lot of, we got to do better and we got to do this, that, and the third, man. And, it ain't no conspiracy theory. It's us, man. It's black on black. You know what I'm saying? It's black people doing it. And it's like, listen, black people, black men, black people as a whole are not responsible for what that lone fool did.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Period.
Yeah.
Like, we not responsible for what he did. I'm glad he was caught. Like listen, I don't know if y'all saw the reports, but like Nipsey's people was at his
they was
at his family.
They was at
they was at his family. They were doing a shakedown, and that's another bad thing. So more innocents get caught up in because you wanted to go do some fuck shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So innocent people got hurt. I believe 2 of his cousins were killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw what some people were
So
actually
they
killed.
went and killed 2 of his cousins because you wanted to go,
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. 2 of his cousins, two people not involved at all. Like they weren't looking for him. Obviously, they knew who it was, so there was like a sweep, and they were like, "Nah, we knocking on doors. And you, yeah."
Unfortunately, I hate to say this, but I hope they get caught too.
Yeah. It's not justified, right?
No.
Yeah, it feels justified.
Yeah.
If someone raped my daughter or my wife or something like that, I might be going around with a pistol looking to
Absolutely
handle my business too.
Absolutely, I would.
But I hope I know I said I hope they get caught too, because that's like my initial reaction is, violence begets violence, but sometimes you got to protect your own. So but I think in my world, I wish they would have just killed him. Kill the perpetrator, not the ancillary folks.
Yeah,
that was my thing. This ain't,
I'm
black on black right now. This is him. This is him.
Yeah.
This is him. Let's hold the responsible party accountable.
Yeah.
And he will be. They better put him in solitary.
I was just about to say
They have to.
Cause
They don't have to put him in solitary.
if
He
they don't,
cannot be in gym pop.
Yeah.
He cannot be.
I think what I keep thinking about is your point from earlier when you said if he had been one of those people who just had money and moved to like Calabasas, no one would have bothered him like that.
They wouldn't have had access.
Yeah, they wouldn't have access, and that, I think for me, that's one of the main things that hurts the most, because this is somebody that is there and doing stuff. Fragile male ego aside and everything, individuals need to look at the bigger picture. There's always a bigger picture, and that is a mentality that happens with more than a few people, where you get caught up in your own lives, your own social networks, your own level perception of respect versus disrespect.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's the shitty part of it, because it's like you said, like had he just packed up and went to Calabasas or sold, shirts for $500, like a lot of them that get clothing lines do,
Right.
made it unattainable for his people, right? Mm-hmm. Then you would have shit on him for that. Like, oh man, they get money and move out the hood. You know what I'm saying? So here's somebody trying to stay in the hood, creating STEM programs so that our kids don't get left behind.
Right.
In technology. Like, here's somebody doing real shit, man. Like tangible shit that you can touch and see in the hood.
and he couldn't win. It's like you said, he get his money, he run to Calabasas.
Yeah.
You trying to leave. And I saw another argument on the other hand, and now he's in the hood. Yeah. It's like, oh, what you trying to, you know what I'm saying? You trying to flex, you know what I'm saying? You trying to throw your money around. It's
he
like
shouldn't have been in the hood. They were saying he shouldn't have been in the hood.
Well, they were saying damn if you do, damn if you don't, basically.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and actually, I was gonna try to pull it up, but I'm paraphrasing, but Meech actually went on later in that in his post, kind of talking about the Tupac situation, and he was saying about Nip, like when you reach a a certain level of success or a certain status, it was like you really, it's hard to, you really don't want to put yourself around low level shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, as bad as you want to be there and be that guy, it sucks because it's almost like you really can't, man. It's like, because shit like this can happen.
Yeah.
You touchable. You know what I'm saying? You people can come right up to you, and from the videos that I've seen on IG, it's like
He walked right up.
Yeah,
He ran right up. He
And
came
from-
through the alley.
Yeah.
But he walked right up to him though.
And from the outcries, what people were saying, like, he's always there, like he's always around.
Yeah, they knew where he would be. Like he
You know what I'm
wanted
saying?
his
So-
people to see him. He wanted to
Exactly.
yeah. But to go back to that piece about being around low level shit, they said that he did a video with DJ Khaled like 4 or 5 days prior, and they were saying that there was a potential threat on the set.
Wow.
Yeah, I was reading that as well. Like people on the production team were saying that they had something about them having, so it was like a 4-story parking deck or something like that. But basically, they weren't granted access to, have like full access to the parking deck. It was only like 2 levels, and the others were wide open. So it was just kind of like there was some alert. It was kind of high alert for whatever reason. But I did read that.
Wow.
So to take a step back, I know we talked a lot about this specific situation. I think the larger conversation was around just crime in general and where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Like, and not where do we go from here? Like, this is like a symptom of a larger problem, right? It's a symptom of things that go on that you see occurring multiple times in our community. What can we do? First, where do we go? Second, what can we do on a daily basis to make a difference? And third, what are we doing collectively?
Well, I will say the police in their press conference today, they gave kudos and showed gratitude to the community because they were able to identify the suspect swiftly and able to find him swiftly due to the community's help. And he continued to stress that the police, I don't know if he was the chief or whatever, but he was basically saying thank you to the community. And he wanted to stress that the reason
nice,
that they
nice.
made the advancements that they have in finding this man was because of the community talking. And as you know, the no snitching,
Yeah.
and I think there's a misconception with no snitching. That doesn't apply to civilians. And a lot of people need to understand that. No snitching applies to people out there doing dirt. So if you're doing dirt, if you man enough to do the dirt, stand on your own too.
True.
And do the time.
True.
But,
Right.
I think a lot of people, when it was like a huge thing where, this no snitching culture that, again, speaking monolithically about black people, y'all got this no snitching culture. It's like, nah, civilians, it should be understood. If you killed, someone close to me,
Yeah.
and I see it and I know who did it, I mean, I'm not in the streets.
You're not beholding.
Right. I'm not in that. So,
Yeah. So I think the piece that applies to the general public is they don't snitch if their life is in danger. And so if you fear reprisal from the gang members or the folks that are doing the crime, you may not snitch because you think, hey, my grandmother lives here. They know where my grandmother is. I go snitch. Or grandma, hey, I go snitch, and everybody in the family gets touched, I guess, as they would say.
Yeah.
And so that's where the no snitching comes in. It's not like you have the resources to say, okay, I'm going to snitch and then my whole family's good. Because of historically black folks have been kept redlined and kept in certain neighborhoods, the folks who haven't had the resources to get out, who often face these types of crime, their whole families within the community. And so it's hard to protect a family of 50, your cousins, your uncles, your sisters, your brothers, whereas someone who has resources and the crime is is committed on them outside of these communities where folks have been, herded in, I guess I would say. They can tell who did it because there's not as much at risk. Like if someone committed a crime on me here in Atlantic Station, they have no idea where my family lives. They can't find my family. They can't come after anyone but me. And so I don't have that threat of reprisal on my back. What do you guys think about that?
I think I see your point, and I see what you mean with that as far as protecting the family, and that's always a concern. And I do get the perspective of looking at snitching as far as if you're doing dirt. I mean, we have a running little joke that we say to the kids when they're telling on each other, snitches get stitches. We'll say that to them because of the fact that we know you about to get in trouble for something 5 minutes from now. So don't be trying to get your brother in trouble. But at the same time, I think the problem is when you have these extreme cases where or these maybe not so isolated, extreme, but isolated cases of where you're talking about snitching, but for some reason, people, a society, a culture will make a blanket statement about it and cover everything. So, for as someone getting shot and they know there's no reprisal, they know that there's no repercussions for them saying anything. Well, I'm just gonna stay out of it. I saw that stuff, but I don't want no problems. I don't feel like talking to the cops. Like I don't want their reputation. It's not about that. It's about protecting your community. It's about making sure that something like this doesn't happen and going forward. And that's the problem. You guys spoke on two separate incidences where, you might be you shouldn't snitch. You're doing dirt. You're protecting your family. But if you are being civic minded, it's called civic duty.
Yeah, but we just got done saying that in the same breath, if someone did something to our family, we're going to retaliate, right? We might try to take the law into our own hands. That's possible, right?
It's possible.
If you're not in your right mind. So why then will we not want to protect our family from an outside force who's more culpable and more capable than us to do something? Like, we see these folks committing crimes.
Right.
We know who in the neighborhood are the criminals, right? So you mean to tell me that it's less risk for them to do something if they find out who I am?
I mean, I guess every situation.
I'm not saying it's. I
guess every situation.
I would
is
handle
different.
things. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not speaking for myself.
Right.
I'm speaking for folks who are in that situation and are faced with that. Like, what am I going to do? Yeah. You really want me to put my whole big mama in danger because someone down the street got killed? And some things may be worth the risk, right? It may be worth the risk if a 12-year-old kid got shot. Or,
I guess that's my point, because you're saying certain things are worth the risk, and I get that because people have different perceptions on things, right? So for Nipsey, because he was so ingrained in the neighborhood, everybody rallied together. And in your example about maybe a 12-year-old or a 6-year-old kid that got killed, that's sad because it tugs at your heartstrings, but I think that's a problem. Every life is valuable, and it's. I know that it is, it could be based on certain situations that make you more likely to do it, but it shouldn't be.
Can I comment very quickly?
Absolutely.
This is not a symptom of the Black community.
No, not by any means.
I want to call that out. Right.
Yeah.
This is a very cross-cultural experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
You think the mafia and the mob and Irish gangs and all those folks couldn't put the pressure on people in their community and say, hey, don't say anything because, hey, grandma over here, or I know where your family lives. Everybody's seen Godfather.
Yeah.
You know, where he had one guy that had something to say or was coming up against him, and he brought his brother out. Remember his brother? He brought his brother out, and he was like, "Hey, I'm sitting here at this event with your brother, and to put the pressure on him not to testify." Remember that?
Yeah.
Same scenario. And so when you think about it, it's a system that's set up for criminals. They play on that system, and it keeps them free, keeps them committing crime. Doesn't make it right. I mean, somebody has to jump on the grenade.
All right.
It's kind of like you're in war. You got to save your brothers, save everybody. You're already going to get blown up. If you jump on the grenade, you might save one or two.
I did want to touch back on your original question, like where do we go now, and what do we do now? And it's hard because I know after every impactful, tragic death that we always ask these questions. I guess because I saw so much on my timeline as far as posting Nipsey and then talking about the marathon's gonna continue and blah blah blah. But I don't want this to be a hashtag. You know what I mean? I don't want this to just because this is trending. Like,
Oh yeah.
What can we do to move forward? If there's anything, there may not be an answer. It may not be an answer that we can find out here tonight to talk about and discuss. It may not be an answer that we can find out for a while, but I at least want to kind of get the conversation going. Just get y'all raw thoughts. What can we do?
I honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
Me and fam was talking on our way back from Alabama, and I just literally said, I know other cultures have their things that, like you said, whites, Asians. I'm pretty sure we can all look up something to where they have shit that they do, too, that we can point to. But I just, when we first got the news of Nipsey, and then we started seeing what could have possibly been the motive, I just simply said, like, yo, man, sometimes I just think, I'm like, our culture is trash sometimes, man. And it hurt, man. It's like, wow, like this guy, and me and my wife was talking about this before I even left the house this evening. Here you got a guy that's doing everything in his power that he could do. Like you said, he didn't have to do none of that. He could have ran to Beverly Hills, to Malibu, and stayed away. And like you said, opened up the store, let everybody else run it. Have his $300-400 pair of jeans and T-shirts in there. And on top of that, he was actually trying to be a father, something that black men get criticized for all the time.
Another myth, by the way.
Yeah.
But I was waiting to respond to your culture being trashed. I think it's a little too broad strokes, but yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
No, it just goes back to the why we don't want to see each other win thing. I'm just saying,
it's self-esteem. It's self-esteem, and it's deep-rooted. I think that's a multi-layered question, and that's why we always kind of get stuck when people, ask those. So what can we do? I was listening to Van Lathan's podcast earlier today, and he kind of talked about, obviously everyone's going to be talking about it this week, but he was just saying that he's not going to patron music that glorifies shooting, like people in the videos with a whole bunch of Dracos and talking about killing a nigga, shooting a nigga no more. He also said that he wasn't gonna, support film, that glorifies like gang violence and that kind of stuff. So, and some people push back. So he started it by saying that he's gonna boycott violence, is what he said, and then he went on to give those examples. And of course, I mean, Everybody has something to say because they have a phone in their pocket. So it was some pushback, like, oh man, that's not like, basically no, that's not tangible. And again, just like when, Jameson posed that question, I mean, that's a tough question to answer on the spot.
No, it is. And I posed it not to get an answer.
Yeah.
I posed it more so
Just as a call to action, kind of
call to action,
awareness.
thought.
Yeah.
We're all a little bit dejected today from the current state of affairs. But, when you after your monologue, I know you had to take a little bit of a health break. And you may not have heard it. I was speaking around DNA having memory and how being devalued as a human for 400 years has an impact. And,
Absolutely. Generational.
Yeah, it's a generational impact.
Yeah,
and so it's
Trauma.
like at some point we got to move to break the cycle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it's happening slowly but surely. It's like a balance, right? Because we don't want to lose our history and our culture and the things that we've been built on, but we want to let go of these.
Do we have culture here? Would you say?
I think we do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
I mean, so
Because the argument for that is, people from Korea have lineage, right?
Right.
People from India have lineage. People, the Irish, they have lineage. Like we were taken,
Right.
and brought here, and then our families, were split up and broken up.
Yep, and that's the beauty of it all, right? Is that even
that
in
we
the
rise,
midst, even in the midst of all that chaos, we've created a culture that is blackness,
Yeah.
and it's the culture that moves the world.
Absolutely. I was going to say that too. Yeah.
If you look at what we've created and who we are, out of darkness, we've brought this light forth, and you can't say that there aren't any shadow us's that are bringing negativity and that have that there's always going to be, in every scale, there's going to be the norms. There's going to be people that excel. There's going to be people that are below the number. And so there's going to be a subset of the population that is behind when it comes to evolution and learning and expanding oneself. We can blame that person. We can blame the world. We can blame society. We can blame a disparagence in education, a disparagence in opportunity, and a disparagence in equality. And I think all those things are valid because they do have an impact. But what I'd say is that, let's really start focusing on those things that make a difference and really taking our mindset from where we've come and trying to break the chains of the past. I guess that's something people have been saying for a long time, but break the chains, the mental chains that we have on ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's a place to start in order to move beyond this lack of value for oneself.
I think we've been saying this same thing.
We have
I'll say this.
60 years.
Yeah.
I've seen in my lifetime that, the dissolving of a sense of community. The community, when I was growing up, used to police itself.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that, holding, sister so-and-so could whoop me and my mama was cool with it. Like, yo, he was down here doing this, you know what I mean? Like he was down here doing that. Like now you can't touch people, kids. And you get it, right? I mean, you get it. I'm not a father. I mean, Jared, and you and T.O. could probably speak to this more than I could, but I use that example just to talk about the overall arc, like community. There was just a sense of, you represent your community, and we want peace in our community. We took pride in our communities,
Yeah.
So I think that, if I had to offer an anecdote, or solution, it's definitely to hold ourselves accountable first and foremost, because I see a lot of deflection. You know, as I see a lot of deflecting, I see a lot of that. But also hold, when you see fuck shit in the community, like we gotta hold that accountable, man.
Out the gate, it was conspiracy, right?
Yeah, off the gate.
Yeah,
Out the gate.
Oh, they killed him. Yeah, because he was getting ready to expose. You're like, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you get it, right? Because everything is so disproportionately our fault.
Yeah.
With
Like
a lot of shit. So
we
there's a
always
natural
shit it on enough.
need to defend your tribe. Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
true.
So you
That's very true.
get it on one hand, but on the other hand, it's like
We go to the extreme on trying to defend.
yeah, man.
It was them.
And do
It wasn't us. It was
uninformed.
It's almost like the dog ate my homework type.
Yeah.
It's to the extreme, and that's what has other people, other races and cultures like sour to our community in that way, because they're claiming racism, or they're claiming this, they're claiming conspiracy theory, and maybe at some points in times it's particularly valid. I mean, and we talk about this on First Things First all the time, where if there's some that we're outraged, some stories that we're outraged about, like, wow, people think like this, and then there's some like, why are you getting upset? Like this is not what people meant.
Yeah.
And we can't. It's almost like in the NBA when you flopping, we can't continue to flop as a community and say, okay, that was a foul when it wasn't. We have to be more intelligent in a way we view things. But I do like what you said about the community. I think it starts locally. I think it starts in your own neighborhood. I think you build from there. Because you're right. That I remember going to Starlight Baptist Church in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I had to throw it in there. Whatever.
Lighten the mood a bit. Sorry.
Yeah. I remember going to Starlight Baptist Church, and 80% of those people were my relatives, and I know I could get it from any one of them at any point in time if I messed up in church, or if I was talking too much in church, or I gave somebody too much, quote unquote, lip.
Right.
But let me ask you something. Let me take this from a different point of view.
Okay.
You could get it from anybody in the community, right?
Right.
Does that not add to the slave mentality that we brought from the slaves? The beating of children, the spanking of kids. Does it add to the mentality?
Oh, that's another discussion, I think, though.
I know. Just something to think about.
I got you. I mean,
It's like I get it, right? I get it, right? I think the point I wanted to make a distinction between discipline and awareness and involvement and spanking. so
I
to
guess
speak.
the larger point though was just accountability,
Right.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
and now like people just no one wants to say anything to anybody,
Right,
like
absolutely.
yeah,
Everybody
people,
is-
and it's on one end it's like mind your business, especially with personal stuff and like gossipy stuff, but when it's something that can bring heat, like who did I see? I think it was Tariq Nasheed who had said like do you think we want this shit? Like when he also was making the point about, like let's be careful not to take what this lone idiot did and say it's a
Community
like
thing.
yeah, like he was like
community thing.
he making it hot in our neighborhood right now. We don't want this. Nobody want that. Nobody want the police, like in our neighborhood. And
reprisals.
Right. And that's what goes back to the whole, holding the community accountable, like us looking out for each other, but like you said, it's so fragmented in the community. Like it's so.
Yeah, like nobody cares.
Well, everybody got their own shit to worry about too.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
yeah, and so in my world, I don't think we're gonna have an answer tonight, right?
Nah.
There's no answer for this.
No, it's not.
I mean, it from what it looks from the outside looking in, it looks like a senseless act. Another brother that has risen from the ashes, literally, and tried to bring folks up with him, has died in the struggle. And it's very unfortunate. Prayers up for everyone involved, everyone around, and hopefully it's just a opportunity for us to take a look inside from a personal perspective, from a community perspective, and say, hey, Marvin Gaye said it best, right? What's going on?
Yeah.
And so that was 30 plus years ago.
Yeah. So,
somebody said that today?
what's his birthday?
And the day he died.
Oh, snap.
On his
Okay.
birthday, yep.
Well,
His
look.
dad.
Hey, wow. I was on time and didn't even know it. But real talk, like you think about it, like where do we go from here? We've made so much progress. Let's keep it pushing. Look, Cole King even got into the school that Lori Loughlin was paying $500,000 to get into. No affirmative action needed.
Yeah.
Lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah.
It seemed a lot of people, man, like were affected by this one. Even people that I know personally that didn't really listen to Nipsey, but they knew what he was doing in his communities.
Right.
The message.
I think that positive change will be spawned from this tragedy.
Yeah, it was an eye opener.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, man, just seem to be really down. Like I said, and these are people that don't even listen to hip hop that are just like, damn, yo, like I don't know, I don't listen to that shit, but I know that he was doing good shit. He was trying to do good shit. So, I say I hope that positive. I won't say it, that I definitely think that because hashtag this week and next week is.
I was just
or
about to say that.
So hopefully,
just about to say that.
Hopefully,
that's the sad part about this whole thing.
Yeah,
hopefully, this man, a talented young brother, like the potential, like the things that he was doing in the community was great. The music he was doing, like it's just the potential overall. Like you said, the come from nothing to something story. Like it was dope, man. Just to hear the passion in his music, the pain in his voice. Like that's something that you don't get all the time.
And for me, the music was great, but the message was better.
Oh, exactly. The
Ownership.
message,
Ownership.
the message was
pride. Yeah,
and this and like you just said, it
Listeners
saddens me
would climb.
because I know, like you said, next week. It'll be.
We're on to the next.
Yeah,
topic.
we'll be on to the.
I got a little aside here in my mind.
What's that?
I'm sitting across from you, Skittle. What does it say? T-Boy.
your boy.
Your boy. So, and I can't help but look at your T-shirt.
Oh yeah, man.
Your T-shirt is of the movie Juice.
Dope shirt.
Yeah.
It's a really dope shirt. But it's a symptom of what we're talking about.
Counterfeiting, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like interesting that, cult classic movie like Juice has all the makings of this type of scenario.
Yeah. Jealousy.
Is it
envy,
all of the above. So is it, so when we have those types of pieces of art or works, is it a shining a light on our experience from the hoods we come from, or is it more brainwashing of, hey, this is okay, this is cool?
We're allowed to have entertainment too, though. The good thing I will say, because during that time, you got a lot of those stories made.
Yep.
It's opening up now, right?
Yeah.
Because they have Scarface, they have all of the dumb, you know what I'm saying? They have all these war movies and Taken and all. I get the reason for asking the question, and I understand what Van was trying to say too today, but I just
he said something like that.
Yeah, like basically he wasn't going to support no
is
more
boycott
glorifying.
violence.
Is he not doing gang violence or just violence? Pure?
No, he said any videos with guns, and all that shit, and I feel him like it seems to be overwhelming with our entertainment that's what's
so he wouldn't like
greenlit.
Underlines.
So he wouldn't do an Avengers movie where they fighting. And,
No, he's saying like
That's a fantasy
He's
movie.
talking about our shit, like rap,
like-
music.
okay. I was
That's
like,
glorifying killing people. That's glorifying.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Misogyny towards women and violence towards
Gotcha.
women, and that's glorifying any of the fuck shit.
Yeah, because I'm gonna see me some Avengers. Sorry.
That's gonna be hard to do.
Yeah, it is going to be very hard. And
Yeah,
he
'cause how
acknowledged
you-
that.
how you-
Yeah.
It's
really hard to
very
do.
hard to do.
It's really hard to boycott.
And
all
Because
that.
that's the only thing given a chance by the powers that be. But then goes back to Nipsey's message, ownership.
Yeah.
Jay-Z's message, ownership. Like,
Well,
we got to
that's-
own
that's the
so that we
reason
can control.
Hold
That's the
on.
reason. That's one of the reasons I brought the T-shirt up.
Yeah, yeah.
Is because it's like it's not because there's anything wrong with the
Right,
movie
right.
Juice.
Yeah,
It was an interesting story.
Yeah.
It was entertaining.
yeah.
But holistically, when was the last time, and I hate to bring up Jewish people, but when was the last time you saw a Jewish person committing crimes against their own people?
Community.
Yeah.
Community. I'm pretty sure I don't have the numbers and statistics. I'm sure that there's, fuck shit in their community as well. But
course.
overwhelmingly, you're right.
Yeah.
Communities.
Community.
How many little Jewish communities do we have around Atlanta, and like the pockets and like how clean they are? Like just a general observation like that, right?
And I'm talking about the messaging.
Oh no, absolutely.
Even on
Because they
top
don't
of
they
that.
don't have that shit. Yeah.
And they don't. They have it.
Even if they have it, it's not promoted
don't
like
have
that.
promoted.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they don't really. But again, they control Hollywood too, though.
That was my point.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
control a lot of the media.
Oh, I got you. I see where you're going.
yeah.
I
That's
got
where
you.
I
I got
was
you.
going.
I see what you
I see where
did
you're
there.
going. Yeah, no, you're right. Ownership.
Of course. Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah, ownership though. Again,
Yeah.
ownership, and that's why I love what Jay is doing. That's why I love what him buying those 100 copies of Crenshaw from Nipsey. He saw something. Like I said, that was 6 years ago, and Jay was like, "I see what you're doing. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna buy 100 off the rip."
He said they were 100 each.
They were 100 each.
It was 100.
And Jay,
Yeah.
excuse me, Jay bought 1,000 copies
He's been
at 100 each.
It's been 100K.
He said that helped fund
Yep, all of
The next project.
all the stuff that he was wanting to do. So just off the
off the
mixtape.
rip. Hove was like,
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Look, hey, shout out to Jay-Z, man.
Yeah,
Look, I know that I may not think he's the greatest rapper of all time, but
Which mic is James?
about to
I just
He's
wanna-
number two. He's number two. No. He's number
5, 4. James
I'll just mute all y'all. except me.
Jameson
Hold
about
on.
to be me.
no. I mean, I've always liked Jay. I was one of, if not the first person to have the Reasonable Doubt album back in the day. I just don't think he's number one, but the stuff that he's doing and the platform that he has today, he might end up being the GOAT very soon.
I mean, that's
all
why
around.
it's hard to not have him up there because of all the above, not just.
Then we won't go into
that's-
it.
yeah, we won't
go into that.
That's a good topic to
Yeah,
discuss.
but
Yeah.
that could be interesting. That one in the LeBron Jordan, when
Yeah, we
those
could
two
do
could be
LeBron. We
interesting.
could do Muhammad Ali. We could do all those people.
I was just talking about hooping, but
Yeah, hooping now. You want to. Yeah, that's a whole nother.
yeah, that's
Sorry, guys.
Muhammad Ali number
No,
one. If we're
Muhammad.
going like athletes
just
and
at-
sacrifice
overall.
and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
And I was
just
also
go
talking
comparisons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I was just talking about activism wise.
No,
like
absolutely.
What
Oh, absolutely.
being great to the
Muhammad.
greatest.
Oh man, yeah.
That's why you to go. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
But anyway, man, R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah. R.I.P. Bro.
Thanks, man. Thanks for being a beacon. Thanks for showing us how it's done. Thanks for having, 10 toes down in the field, actually living it and actually doing the work and trying to do something, man. I guarantee you're going to inspire some people, man, to use the quote, run this marathon, the rest of this
Marathon will
marathon,
continue.
it will continue. So shout out Nipsey, R.I.P. brother.
Rocks and puddles make ripples.
Yeah, he was.
Maybe he's the rock.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Anybody got anything else?
No.
I think that's good. We didn't have a whole lot this week, y'all. Like this one was tough.
Yeah.
This was tough.
Yeah.
Well, on to brighter news. Jared, didn't you say you had a story this week?
I did not.
Come on, give us one.
You know what? I was unable to prepare a story based on how we were feeling. That's fine. I'll try to come up with one for you for next week. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So you got
You had to triple on me, huh?
Yeah, I did.
You had to triple it up on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you ejected. That's an ejection. in the game.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. But
All right, y'all. GetVexed. where can you find us? Who's got the outro?
Oh, before we go, I saw earlier a petition has been put on change.org that they want to rename Crenshaw Boulevard and Slauson Avenue Nipsey Hussle Boulevard.
Yeah, I saw that. Shout out to the people
shout
trying
out.
to get that together.
Yeah, so hopefully that can go through. They can make that happen.
On the corner of Nipsey and Hustle. That'd be kind of
It's
interesting.
right on the intersection where the Marathon clothing store is.
Yeah.
So it's like right there.
That's what's up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we thank y'all for listening this week. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here with us. Until next time, stay vexed, stay blessed. It is the Vexed Intellect.
Peace.
Yes, sir.
You can find us on.
Oh, yeah, that.
Yeah. I wasn't going to do it because we was in a summer mood, but yeah, you can find us on all social media platforms.
You got to promote, baby. Either way,
Yeah,
got to promote.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So let's continue the conversation on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, even Tumblr. For that matter. Yeah.
We don't have a bunch of nudes or anything on there, right?
They outlawed that.
Oh,
now.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Wow, you knew about it, huh?
I did.
It was a sad, sad damn day.
Bunch of screenshots.
It wasn't sad for me.
It wasn't?
We'll talk off.
All right.
It was sad.
Thank y'all for
His IG is on fire. Clearly.
Thank y'all for listening. FBI, please don't hack Jared's phone. Please don't. It's the Vexed Intellects.
Peace.
GetVexed.